Good morning. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Hudson. My name is Marilyn Orr, President of the club, and we are thrilled to have you join us today. This meeting broadcast is available on HCTV, as well as our Rotary of Hudson YouTube channel and Facebook. Our club meets weekly using this digital platform, Zoom. When we meet in person, it's at Laurel Lake Retirement Community for breakfast. We hope to get back to that soon. We meet most Wednesday mornings from 7:15 to 8:30 a.m. So come out to join us for a meeting. We would love to have you as a guest. To learn more about Rotary, our club, and the impact we are having on our local community and the world, please visit our website, rotaryhudson.org. So enjoy this meeting today and help us share the message that Rotary opens doors of opportunity.
Good morning, Rotarians and guests. Welcome, Rotarians that would like to come in and sit down. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Hudson. I'm Ron Strobel, the Sergeant at Arms. Our invocation this morning is by Jim Ahern.
Anyway, before we start, I just wanted to give a shout out thanks to Jim Young. Every week he is. Just want to send out thanks to Jim Young. Every week he sends out reminders to everybody that needs to do it, and he makes it very easy. If you can't do it, he'll find somebody who takes care of it. So I shout out to Jim for doing that. He also called me when I was at Suma Wellness. It's a big difference when you say he couldn't hear me quite right. And the big difference when you say I'm at Suma or in Suma. He thought I said in Suma. Okay, bow your heads, please. Oh God of creation, you have blessed us with the changing of the seasons. As we welcome the autumn months, may the earlier setting of the sun remind us to take time to rest. May the brilliant colors of the leaves remind us of the wonder of your creation. May the steam on our breath and the cool air remind us that it is you who give us the breath of life. May the harvest from the fields remind us of the abundance we have been given and bounty we share with others. May the dying of summer spirit remind us of the great promise and that life is eternal. We praise you for your goodness forever and ever. Amen.
Thank you, Jim. And now to lead us in the pledge and the four-way test, Joe Avella.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do, first, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Good job.
Thank you, Joe. And now our president, Pat Shearer.
Thank you, Ron. We have a very busy morning today. Our district governor, Larry Lohman, is here with us and will be presenting to the club in a few minutes. But we also have several quick announcements. We have two sign-up sheets that are going around on one clipboard. First one is for Santa on the Green. If you haven't committed to your elf time, we ask that you make that commitment and sign up on there, because Ed put Sue in charge of making sure that list got filled up. So we don't want to have Sue in trouble with Ed. And we also have the tree plant that's coming up on November 20th, which is our cluster project, where we'll be planting trees at Wood Hollow. There's two groupings. So if we can get some Rotarians to sign up for those and help out on our cluster project on the 20th, that would be fantastic. Coming up on November 11th is our District Foundation Gala. Encourage all of you to participate in that and go to the District 6630 website to sign up for that. We're getting close to wrapping up our fall fundraiser. Next week is the wrap up of that sale. So if you haven't turned in your commitments for the fall fundraiser, please make sure you bring that with you next week to the meeting. For November, we are collecting materials in honor of Veterans Day for our veterans at Valor Home. You'll see that the box was out at the registration as you came in. We are looking primarily for donations of socks, underwear, and baseball caps. So if you could bring some of those in with you to next week's meeting, so that we'll be collecting that through the 17th. There will not be a club meeting on November 24th, the day before Thanksgiving. We will be having our club board meeting next week, immediately following our regular club meeting. And at this time, I'd like to ask our district governor and our Jerry Zimlicka to come forward. We have an induction of a new member. Have you guys go over there. Larry. Jerry, on behalf of the board and membership of the Rotary Club of Hudson, it is a great pleasure to welcome you as the newest member of our club. We look forward to the fellowship that we will share, as well as your participation in many club projects that make our community, country, and a world a better place in which to live. Rotary is an organization of business and professional people pledged to uphold the highest ethical and moral standards. Rotarians believe that worldwide fellowship and peace can be achieved when business people unite with the Rotary motto of service above self. Rotary activities exemplify the charity and sacrifice that one would expect from people who believe that they are responsibility to help others. Jerry, you have been chosen for membership in the Rotary Club of Hudson because of your fellow members believe you to be a leader in our community, and because you possess the qualities to champion the message and principles of Rotary. You now become an ambassador of Rotary, carrying the ideals of service to all within your sphere of influence. Our community will know and judge Rotary by your character and service. We will also look to you for inspiration as we strive to become better Rotarians. We now ask your sponsoring Rotarian to vest you with their distinguishing badge of Rotary. In this case, it's our district governor. Your Rotary pin and your name badge. Chris will get you your name badge. We ask that you wear your Rotary pin with pride, not only to all Rotary functions, but in your many endeavors as a symbol of your commitment to the Rotary ideals and your recognition of your contribution towards a better world. Fellow Rotarians, please rise and welcome our newest Rotarian, Jerry Zimlicka.
All right, good morning, everyone. Really excited to be a part of the club. I feel like I should be donning like a green jacket like they do at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, the induction ceremony here. But yeah, really excited. A little bit about myself. I'm originally from North Royalton, went to North Royalton High School and ventured off to Ohio State, where I studied finance over there. I've held various positions in the retail banking segments. Most recently, I come to Hudson as a way of a job. I work at Key Bank. I manage our branch there and work with our lovely folks and lovely customers at our branch here in Hudson Square off of Streetsboro there. I actually belong to the Strongsville chapter of the Rotary, and we did some great things over there. It's a lovely group. I worked at a credit union. I want to say from 2014 to 2017, I belonged to that chapter and held some various positions within the club, served on some different committees. One committee that I served on that actually is taking place this month is the Chili Open, in which we would set up a makeshift golf course outside at the Berea Fairgrounds. We would have chili inside, of course, and we accepted donated items that we would auction off, and had some various other things that we would raffle off to raise some money. And we did such a great job there. So I was really proud of that. I also served on the Taste of Strongsville, in which we would bring in various restaurants, bars, and food vendors. And for the price of admission, people can come in and enjoy, a great night and go around to the various food stations and, have a good time. But that's kind of my idea. I'm hoping to contribute as much as I can, pick my spots, and hopefully I get a chance to meet you all, and really looking forward to it. So thank you.
Thanks, take care. All right. I forgot our quote of the day. And given that November is Rotary Month, we're going to be, all of our programs this month are going to be involving our Rotary Club and some of our projects that we have. So it's only fitting that our quote fit for Rotary. Rotary changes us and those we serve. I believe we can change the world one life at a time. Paul Harris. And with that, we are going to ask Marilyn Orr to come forward and introduce our district governor.
Thank you, President Pat. It's my privilege this morning to introduce District Governor Larry Lohman. Larry grew up in a Rotary family, a family that had a long tradition of Rotary experience. And in fact, one of his predecessors was the founder of a Rotary Club. So he comes to Rotary learning at the knee. He's been a member of the Rotary Club of Kent, which was our sponsoring club when we were founded in 1930. Last year, the Kent Club celebrated their 100th year of service to the community. He's been a member of that club since 2007 and served just about every position within it, including president-elect and president. He also led the change to identify ways to better inform that community about what Rotary was doing. He's been a member of the Rotary District 6630 Grants Committee for over 8 years and been involved in all aspects of it, from writing grants to fundraising and administering several grants, global grants. His club for the last 20 years has been involved in providing clean water systems to villages in El Salvador. And after he actually went on one of the Rotary delegation trips to El Salvador and came back with a renewed passion for the projects that they were doing. Over the past 2 years, Larry has brought a focus of youth services to his club, which has sponsored a new Interact Club and have begun participating in Rotary Youth Exchange. Larry headed up the revitalization of the Kent State Rotaract Club, which is now alongside a financial organization through the Kent State School of Business. He also envisions creating a mentorship program between this club and local young professional organizations. For the past 15 years, Larry has worked in the locksmith and security field, currently as a project manager for Zenith Systems. But the one thing that always makes Larry smile is his family. He has 2 beautiful and talented teenage daughters. Please welcome our district governor, Larry Lohman.
Let me get this off first. So, thank you all for having me here today. It's a pleasure to get out and visit our clubs. It's nice to meet everybody, see what the clubs are doing, especially in service. I've had the pleasure the last couple of weeks of spending my Saturday mornings doing service projects with clubs and look forward to many more Saturdays. Actually, I will be with you on November 20th, at least for the first session. We'll see. I have other things going on in the afternoon, but if I can stay all day, I will. but I do very much enjoy participating in service projects, especially throughout our district. You know, one thing I noticed, I grew up in Rotary, as Marilyn said. I grew up around the Rotary Club of Cambridge, where I had 3 generations of my family who were members of that club. When I was growing up back in the 80s and 90s, I could walk around my town, talk about Rotary as a youth, and people knew what it was. I could go to my high school and talk to my friends, and everybody knew what Rotary did in our town. And, you know, I've noticed over the years as I walk around towns that I mention Rotary and I get less and less recognition. I get blank stares, or I get, you mean that lunchtime club, or, you know, some other things that I don't want to go into. And, you know, I just wonder where we have steered from. And I've looked and I've looked, and what I've come up with is somewhere along the line, Rotarians have forgotten how to tell their stories to their communities. We do a great job telling each other our stories. We do it at our meetings, we do it at our district conferences, we do it at other club visits or the foundation gala. But when it comes to getting out to our communities and talking and telling our stories of what Rotary is actually doing, who we are, it's not happening much anymore. So I looked at this year and I was looking at what my focuses should be for coming into my governor year. Every governor does it. Past district governor Pat Myers, which is with us tonight, or today, this morning. She had some great visions last year and led us through a very, very challenging year. You know, this year is challenging as well. We're still in this pandemic. So my main focus this year is helping clubs tell their stories. And the way I'm doing that is I've given our presidents different choices for having me, first of all, out to do club visits, doing a traditional visit like this. And then the second one was to have me out to a service project. And unbeknownst to them, I had other plans for the service project. And that is still an open thing. So whether I do a club visit, still please invite me out to any service project you have. If I'm available, I will be there. But with the service projects, what I'm going to do is from the district level, I'm going to bring somebody from our public image committee to take photos and to work with you to get a story out to not just your local paper, but as many media sources in Northeast Ohio as we can. Seeing stories from other communities is just as important as seeing them from your own, because what it will do, it'll bring ideas. It'll bring individuals who have been in other communities to your club. If they're moving, or, you know, it just gives recognition throughout the whole district. So we're looking at media. We've been redesigning our public image committee a little bit to get some more individuals on it, especially ones who have marketing backgrounds. And we've done a really, I think, a good job to this point. So that is our major focus this year. So if you have stories, you want to get them out, you're not exactly sure, or you want to get them further than just Hudson, please get with me. Our public image coordinator is Maureen Garnett from Hillcrest Sunrise. She'll be more than willing to help, come take photos, whatever. We also have about 7 or 8 other members on that committee that we can get with you. The second thing I looked at was, as was read, you know, one of my passions is youth services. And I really want to do something with youth services this year. I wasn't sure what. I wanted it to be impactful. I wanted to move on for years to come. So I reached out to our chair of our Interact committee, Chelsea Talty, and asked her, I said, what can we do? You know, do you have any ideas? I'm sure, you know, you've been in this position for many years. What can we do? And she came back and she goes, I do. I have a great idea. I just don't want to be the one who has to do all the work, which tends to happen, you know. So she brought up this idea of an alumni association for our youth. It goes a little bit more than just an alumni association, but, you know, a lot of our youth, once they leave high school, we lose track of them. which is kind of a disservice to them. It's also a disservice to Rotary in a whole because we're not keeping them engaged to get them to the next level of Rotary. So that's membership. It's going out the door right away. So we are looking at, trying to keep in touch with our youth after they leave high school. But before they leave, we want to direct them to the next level. We want to, if they're going on to a university, we want to direct them to the Rotaract programs at those universities or in those communities. Same with if they're going on to a technical program or just going into the workforce. A lot of communities now are having community-based Rotaracts that aren't tied to universities. So we can keep our youth going into the next level or bring them right into a club if they're ready to come into the full club. So those are going to be the two main focuses as we move through this year, and we've been working on both. At the Interact level, we have our Interaction this weekend, and it's at West Geauga High School. That is the gathering of all of our Interact clubs throughout our district. It's their district conference, basically. They will choose at that Interaction on Saturday a service project to do district-wide. And they will present that at the district conference, which will be coming up in April, on April 22nd, 23rd. That will be just down the road. It's going to be in Cuyahoga Falls at the Sheridan Suites. So keep that date on your calendar because we're going to have a great time. We got a lot of things. We're starting to plan it right now. We got a lot of things that we're going to be doing and we'll be rolling out as they come available. So, but with our Interact and our Rotaract right now, for the last 4 or 5 years, it's been 2 people running the whole thing. There's no real committee under them. It's been Chelsea Talty and Bob Oborn from Stowe Monroe Falls. And they've been running the thing, and it's getting to the point where we need a committee. We have 35 Interact clubs, I believe, throughout the district. Rotaract, we're down to 2 right now. Unfortunately, Kent folded during the pandemic, and we are redesigning it right now. We're going to bring it back as a community-based, I believe. It's hard in a university to keep a Rotaract program going at this point because of the changing of students from term to term. So, but we do have 2. We have an Akron, or over at Akron, we have a community-based Rotaract program in Akron. And then up at Baldwin Wallace, we have a university-based Rotaract program up there, which is actually very active. I recommend anybody going out, if you're on Facebook, just pull up Baldwin Wallace Rotaract. You'd be amazed at what they're doing. They usually have at least 1 or 2 service projects going right now a week. So they're an amazing group. They're also a good group to have down and speak to you. So Jim McKee's daughter, Lulu McKee, is, I believe, president this year of the Rotaract Club up there. So she is a great person to get in. She's also serving on 3 of our district committees at this point. So we got a lot of things going on in the district. As you heard, we have our Foundation Gala coming up November 11th. That will be at Windows on the River in Cleveland. We are doing things a little differently. In the past, we've had live auctions, we've had silent auctions at it. This year, we want to kind of focus more on the aspect of the awards that we're giving out to individuals, but also the service that the club has done alongside the foundation. These are all going to be, a lot of these awards are coming from Governor Pat's year, and some are coming actually prior to Governor Pat's year, because we're trying to recognize individuals for the last about 3 years. So what we are doing instead of the auctions is we're having a service project. Something I dearly love, obviously, service projects. So this service project, if you have seen the mailings and everything, is we're asking everybody to bring hats, mittens, gloves, and socks. Our theme this year is warm hands, warm hearts. So it kind of goes along with the theme. And what we're looking to do, we have our district governor nominee, Julie Brandel, right now looking around all the clusters for organizations to donate them out to, because we don't want to just donate them to one area of the district. we want every cluster to have a donation given in their area, so in their counties. So that is what we are doing this year. We are doing a service project. We're not necessarily raising money at the foundation gala. So we are going to have some food there. There will be a cash bar. We're going to have some social time. We're going to have from 6 to 7 is social time, and then we'll start the program at 7. So, but highly recommend you're there. We're going to have fun. You know, I think that's the theme this year, is trying to have fun getting back together. So, then coming up, you know, your president-elects have already started their training for the next year with District Governor-elect Dave Jones. And I think he's done a great job. He and his fellow DGEs from around the whole state of Ohio have come together, not only just to put together All Ohio Pets training, which is our training for president-elects in March, but they're doing several sessions ahead of that to prep them, versus where our districts have done our pre-trainings by ourselves. So that way, when they get to All Ohio Pets, everybody's on the same level and everybody's moving at the same pace and ready to roll. So I think they're doing a great job. They have a great idea, plan to move forward. And I think you'll see some great things out of your president-elect or your next president next year as well. So with that, are there any questions that I can answer?
Is this thing on? Yes. With respect to the service project, are these all male items, or are there female veterans or target populations?
These will, the items for the foundation gala, it'd be unisex. So it's anybody.
Anybody?
Yeah,
Okay, so
it's not directed at any population.
it depends on the size and what's accessible. So
Yeah.
that's why I asked.
Yeah, we're looking for all sizes, you know, children, adult, you know, it doesn't matter if it's male or female. We will find organizations to properly get them out to. If, you know, the one thing I put out in my last letter, I think last week, you know, if you aren't able to get to the gala, but you still want to give, feel free to just even contact me. I will come back, pick up the items, or have somebody stop by and get them. If you want to collect them at the club level, that'd be great too. I can come and grab them. That's not a problem. Any other questions? Comments? Oh, this could be trouble.
Actually, well, before, two questions. One is, are you also taking monetary donations?
What's that?
Money as well as goods?
We weren't taking monetary, but we probably could, and then we could go out and buy stuff with that.
Sure.
So,
And then on the topic of the, you know, Rotary and kind of getting involved with the youth organizations. So we're actually, so there's several youth organizations in Hudson already, and we're very involved in those. And my thought is, rather than having yet another Rotary project for the kids, maybe we can, in our involvement with them, explain more about what Rotary is. So instead of just sort of helping them with the various things, maybe see if we can get an hour or two or 30 minutes to talk to them about Rotary and use that to help them, you know, see more about what we're about, as well as the fact that we're helping them with their various activities that they're doing.
yeah. And what I've seen also in communities that, you know, have multiple youth programs, and is that they've merged Interact with another program. So they officially have an Interact program, because it doesn't cost anything to the students. Doesn't really cost anything much to the club to set it up. But they still have a program. They have students that are involved in whatever they're doing, plus that program, and then you can bring them in for service projects. So there's all kinds of ways to do it. So, and Interact does not have to be school-based. like Rotaract, it can be a community-based program. Evan?
Good morning, Larry. Great to see you. Okay, well, I just want to start off by saying thank you very much for your service as our district governor. I think that a lot of folks in the room here are past presidents and probably understand some of the work that you do and that goes into your role. But I just wanted to, again, thank you for your dedication. And as Larry mentioned numerous times, if he's available, he will be there. What that means is he's given his entire schedule to Rotary for this year. So one more round of applause for our district governor, Larry Lawrence. All right, here's the tough part now.
All right.
So I want to hear more about your best experience as our district governor and your most challenging time
As district governor,
as district governor.
well, I can say that the most challenging time, we'll start with that, actually was district governor-elect year. Planning all the trainings that go on, but not only that was the pandemic year. I mean, it was a different year. With All Ohio Pets, I was asked to chair a committee that was put together specifically to get us out of a hotel contract. So that there was my most challenging time. And luckily we were successful, and we were able to move on. And we actually built our relationship up a lot stronger with the hotel as we moved through that process. I had a great committee working with me. Now, my most exciting moment as district governor, I have to say my most exciting moment, if it's one physical moment, was my daughter pinning me at the award and banner exchange. But as a Rotarian, my most exciting moments are getting out and meeting with everybody. The service projects that I've been at so far, as I stated, I've also been to a couple anniversary celebrations. One of my first get-togethers was with Chagrin Valley for their 80th anniversary. So it was a great get-together. It wasn't a big gala or anything because they weren't sure exactly how to do that in this atmosphere, but it was a very, very nice event. My own club finally got to celebrate their 100 years this past Saturday, or not, this 2 weeks ago now. And we had a great event down in Kent, and it was fun. It was fun to see everybody, to hear the history and everything. So the fun part of being a governor is getting out to the clubs, is getting active. The stuff that sits in the background, it can stay in the background. You don't need to know about all the paperwork we got to do, or the meetings that we're in for hours on end every night, or anything like that. So, but it is definitely worthwhile. And I plan to try to push Evan to be a governor at some point. Evan and I served as presidents together. We were buddies during our president's year. So, anybody else? No? I do have a couple things. Come on up, Patrick. Yeah, I brought goodies. I wish I could have brought more goodies, but I brought goodies. One, I have our theme pins that you can hand out to the whole club. So, and I think I sent you, or I think I gave you a special one with the banner. But also it's been a tradition. It started back in Governor John Reyes's year under President Mark Maloney. And Mark decided to design themed socks. So since Governor John's year, we've been giving out themed socks to each of the presidents of the club when we go to speak. So here is this year's theme socks.
All right.
So, I'm sure the members here are going to inspect the socks each week.
Laundered in between.
So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Larry. Thank you very much. Rotarians, our District Governor, Larry Lohman. So now, as your club president, one of the things, if we're going to remember asking all of you to remember back to our strategic plan that we went through last year under Marilyn's leadership and under Jay Yard's, we wanted to do a major service project that was very visible in our community. And we are going to be launching that project this morning. So I'd like to have Jay Yard, Andy Morse, Evan McCauley, and Kelly Brennan all come forward. They've been working for about a year plus on getting ready for today. So Jay, I'm going to have you come up first and give us the background information on our project.
Me being here. No joke. Andy always said it. All right, fine. Good morning, Rotarians. Good morning, Rotarians. These are exciting times. And what we're going to talk about today has taken a number of months to develop, but it is rolling. Earlier this year, we developed and approved a strategic plan for the club's future. Our vision, which would be slide 1, please, recognized a Hudson community that fosters and develops service-oriented youth with solid leadership and life skills. Sounds a little bit like the Scouts, doesn't it? That's the second item. Now, our club also endorsed the undertaking of a major high-profile community project, similar in ways to those our friends at Kiwanis are regularly announcing and funding. I'm a pretty competitive person. Next slide. The results from our strategic planning survey indicated that a majority of our members favored the Scout Cabin project. And guess what? This ties in perfectly with the recent announcement of the restoration of the Baldwin Bus House directly across the street from the cabin. And that will become the PEGS Foundation headquarters and an art gallery. Nice company for our project. We have begun to publish our commitment to the Scout Cabin project, and later this week, we'll release the article that Marilyn sent to you yesterday and I've handed out this morning. The project is expected to attract community sponsors and donors. Our Rotary website that Evan will go through with you will be the focal point of that campaign. Plus, we'll be running some advertisements in various publications explaining the significance of our undertaking. This high-profile project could also help recruit some new members, especially those that might have a direct interest in such an important community landmark. So next up is Hudson's Ultimate Scout leader, father of Eagle Scouts, past president of Rotary, chairman of this committee, and Andy Morris will give you some history about the Scout Cabin. Thank you. Thanks, Jay. So first of all, I listened to the governor, okay? The district governor said he wanted themed socks, okay? So I've got you a Scout themed socks. Secondly,
I listened to the district governor, and he said he wants story told. It's story time, okay? And when I say it's story time, I'm talking about our scout cabin. Our scout cabin started as an idea back in 1930. And one of the ideas was, where do you have, and by the way, the Boy Scouts, Troop 321, which was actually Troop 1 at that time, had to have a place to stay. And so the Scoutmaster at the time, A.R. Cease, turned around and said, look, we need to find a better place. So they approached the township trustees, because the township trustees own that land right there on the corner of 303 and 91. And so the township trustees said, yes, this is a perfect thing to build a cabin here. So in February of 1931, some of the logs were chopped down and brought over to the location there. For the next 6 months, those logs started to slowly take shape and became what is known as the front half of the cabin. On August 26th, 1931, the whole town came out for the dedication of the cabin. Now you got to understand, that cabin was built by the Scoutmaster, Mr. Cease, but it also was built by Wilbur Stanley, Dr. Kurt Weidenthal, Raymond Mickle, and James Scales, all members of Hudson Rotary. So we've had for 90 plus years a relationship with this cabin. And that's the exciting part about it, because during that period of time, there have been numerous scouts that have learned different things. There have been numerous people who've come and gone. They've had some great scoutmasters, myself included, of course, but they've also had great scouts that have been there. So, as we say here, it became the meeting place in 1931. In 1953, due to the expanding size of the troop, we had to basically double the size of the cabin. So that addition was put on, and it really kind of fits in there nice and smooth with everything else. But the problem we have is, oh, and by the way, I want to talk about the district governor, item number 3. He wants us to also be dealing with youth service. Okay. Thank you for, a perfect introduction, because obviously this is all about youth service of here in Hudson for the boys. So that is, and by the way, the telephone poles were not part of the cabin. That is the original picture of it as it was started back in 31. And then, as I say, it was then expanded to more. We also have the next picture. There you go. Again. I'm sorry, I forgot. I need to tell you what this cabin is not, okay? It is not the birthplace of David Hudson, okay? Or Burt Morgan, okay? Now, I will tell you that Burt Morgan frequently sat in this window up here, staring down at that cabin, and he frequently had things to say about it. We can't say some of those things, okay? Although he did call me on a regular basis to tell me that there was a raccoon that was running in underneath the, there's a little hole there. So he would tell me, just because, well, he's Bert. What can you say? But anyway, those two myths are not true. And more importantly, this beautiful cabin that has been there for 90 years, needs some help. Okay. And again, we just, as one more picture here, Troop 321 up on the top. You can see on the inside, we work on it. The chimney and the over there on the far side, the fireplace, those actually were stones that were a house that was torn down on 91 going South Main Street. Okay. And they actually then hauled those stones up to the cabin to build the chimney. Now, when they did that, they also had a number of stones left over, of course. So not only did we build the chimney, but then those same stones were used to build the World War I memorial that's in the front next to the flagpole. And I don't think we have a picture of that, but the dedication started with a large flagpole. Please do in the next part. You're talking about the repairs. So I talk about the good parts. Now we're going to get to Kelly to talk about the bad parts.
Passing the mic through me, though, quick question for you, Andy. Were you born at that cabin? Is that?
That's the third myth that was debunked.
That myth is not debunked. We have evidence that Andy was born in this cabin, although long before 1931. What we're showing you is a lot of folks, what we found when we started to do this, and really this goes back a number of years because we had this crazy pandemic year. But when you go out and look at the cabin, what we found was a lot of people who drive by this cabin every day don't know it's there. They don't look at the green. And granted, I realize that it's, if it's in the summertime, there's a lot of foliage out there, trees, things like that. But a lot of people don't even know the cabin exists. And then, of course, we have the other myths that permeate and will probably permeate the next generation. These are some of the specific areas that need to be addressed. This cabin is over 90 years of age. It's in two different sections, obviously. The logs of the front cabin are chestnut, correct? Wormy chestnut. And then the logs for the part of the cabin that was built in 1953 are, I'll just call it Hines, because were different varieties, a bunch of different varieties. So what we have as the first problem is chinking. When you lay two logs together, the area between the two logs, those are chinked. What they did back in 1931 or later was they used a masonry type chinking. Obviously that chinking has now kind of gone bad. Some of the logs, we had an engineer's report completed. Some of the logs need to be replaced in their entirety because they have, they're rotted. These end caps also have issues because they also received the bulk of the weather. If you look at the south side of the cabin, that took all the weather. That also has to be addressed. So logs is the big issue. And how many in this room have any knowledge of how to either build or restore a log cabin? There aren't that many in Northeast. That could help. So the biggest problem that you have ultimately is you've got to find someone that has some understanding of how to manage a log cabin. That's a challenge. So a lot of people look at this project and think, it's not too challenging, but what we discovered is to replace a log that would be, say, at the footer, at the foundation, is a little more challenging because you can't lift this cabin up. It has a stone chimney attached to the north side of the cabin, and it's built in two different sections. So part of it is we think we will actually have to take each log out, mark it, clean it, replace it, and then put them all back in the order in which we took them out. And that's how we'll actually do the cabin. Foundation is in good shape. The entire roof structure would need to be replaced. It is original to both editions, one 1931, the other 1953. But you can clearly see where water has been our enemy for 90 years. In fact, I'm not sure if anyone even knows whether the cabin was ever preserved in terms with any kind of stain or any of that nature. Also, a lot of the logs still have the bark on it. That bark needs to come off. The bark is actually an enemy to the log, it's not something that'll help us. And then just the general updating. So in terms of areas that need to be managed, it's the roof. And anybody who's driven by and looked at the cabin, you can see that it kind of waves. And that isn't because the roof in itself is in disrepair or was put up incorrectly. It's because when you get to the top of the sills on these logs, it's at different heights all through the cabin. 1931, nobody really cared. So a lot of work needs to be done. This time frame we're being told could take well in excess of a year in order to complete. So it's a very, very large, very intensive project. And you have to look at it in terms of, we haven't touched this cabin in a meaningful way in 90 years. Yet for the bulk, most of this cabin is in pretty darn good shape. The wood flooring that's on the inside, pretty darn good shape. We think the foundation is in great shape, but we need to address the other issues so that when the scouts do use this cabin, it's safe, and that everybody in Hudson who's familiar with the cabin recognizes that it is got a uniqueness to Hudson in the sense that if I'm a Boy Scout, and I was, you typically met at church, you met in town hall. You didn't meet in cabins like this. So Hudson, we're very, very fortunate that the folks in 1931 had the forethought to think, let's put something very unique to scouting out on the green. And that's all I have, unless there's anything additional. No.
Thank you, Kelly. Looks like we've got a lot to do. And as Rotarians, we're people of action, but we're not necessarily the type of people to take the logs down one by one and replace the chinking and do all of those things. So with this project, as Rotarians, our call to action comes with what I'm going to talk about, and that's a fundraiser that we're kickstarting today. It's live, it's ready to go. We're doing a commemorative walkway outside of the cabin. So we're going to have bricks and pavers that are going to be available for purchase, and those can be customized with Rotary logos, Boy Scout logos, Eagle Scout logos, and any commemorative script that you'd like. You get 3 lines. So yeah, there's a kind of a little printout of what that brick might look like. It's a traditional brick, 4 inches by 8 inches. The pavers are 8 inches by 8 inches. The bricks are $225. The pavers are $425. So this fundraiser has started. We have raised money previously from galas and other events, and also recently from our the Rotary Foundation. So our district governor, Larry Lohman, mentioned his involvement on our district grants committee, and that's exactly where our fundraising started this year. So we received $2,900 in terms of matching funds back from the district. And the reason that we have those funds to begin with is because of all of your contributions to the Rotary Foundation, one of the best foundations that exists in the world. So call to action. What we have is on our Hudson Rotary website, right on the main page there. You cannot miss it. You've got 3 options when you go to our website. You can learn more about the project. You can buy a brick or a paver, or you can make a donation. We certainly accept charitable donations. All money, whether it's bricks, pavers, or donations, is coming directly to the Hudson Rotary Foundation. And from there, that's where we're going to be doing our project. So, with that, again, as Rotarians, our call to action is to raise some money. We've got a nice big budget in terms of repairs and making sure that our cabin's around for the next 90 years. So thank you, James, for hopping onto the website. So right here, you can see a little picture of our cabin. We've had some great reports and engineering reports done for us. And while I'm up here also, thank you to these gentlemen for all the time that they've spent, but also thank you to Jim Young. Thank you to our scout partners, Scott Fisher and Mike Pulte. Thank you also to Chris Bach and Chris Foster, who's another newer Rotarian here. So on the website, hop there. If you go to learn more, we'll start there. Okay, that works. So basically here, you'll have information about our project, the history, We'll have updates as we progress through the project. So this will be a great spot to learn more. So if you'll scroll down the page here a little bit, here you have the opportunity to buy a brick or donate. So you can click on that and we'll see where that takes us. It's very easy. So our goal is to make it quick and easy for you to buy this brick, make this donation. So through this link, you'll be taken to a Square site. You can make those donations. And, we don't need to go through the whole process, but, this is all you need. And again, thank you to everyone for their time spent. There's been a lot of work put into this project, and we really appreciate your help in getting this message out to the community. Most people in this room know somebody that has been a part of Scouts in their life. So reach out to those folks, reach out to your neighbors and other folks in the community, hop online, make your donation, and be a part of this project. So thank you very much. And if I'm in between you and your dad joke, here's Father Pat.
All right, we have a little bit of business that we have to conduct before we get the dad joke. So we have a Rotobuck raffle, and our jackpot is $9 today with a payout of $279, which would go perfectly for buying a brick. So let's have Marilyn pick a ticket. Thank you, Marilyn. So the winning ticket is 716-823, 716-823. Kelly. Ah. Come on up here, you got it. All right, the black marble is in there, Kelly. Verify that it's in there, okay. Oh, it is not the black marble, but you have a $9 payout. Or we'll put that back into the pot. Thank you very much, Kelly. And I actually don't have a dad joke. I have a fundraising joke today because we're in the middle of a fundraising campaign for our scout cabin. So the farm animals all got together and they needed to raise some money. And they were trying to figure out what they could do to raise money. So the chicken and the pig got together and they were trying to come up with an idea of how can they raise money to make some renovations on the farm. And the chicken said, you know what, we could have a big barn, a farm breakfast. And the pig looked at the chicken and she goes, and the pig said to the chicken, well, that's a donation on your part, but that's a commitment on mine. And as a club, we've made a commitment to the Rotary Scout Cabin. So please be generous. And with that, our meeting today is adjourned. Have a great week.